Okay, folks, we'll get started in just a second. Just a reminder, everyone, mute your phones. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this week's edition of Wednesday Commissioner's Office Hours. We are going to do it just like we always do. We're happy to have you here. Hope everyone had a wonderful 3-day holiday weekend. We're excited to have you join us this weekend. We do have several questions that were submitted beforehand. So like always, we'll start off with those, and then we'll get to the questions in the chat box. So the chat box is open for questions today. A reminder, please mute your phones. We do not want to have to call anyone out, especially some of our repeat offenders who have been unmuting themselves and interrupting this call for the past couple of weeks. So hopefully we don't have to boot anyone and we can have a great discussion today. We're looking forward to it. And we're going to start the way we always do. And we're going to start with Commissioner Turner kicking it off. Commissioner.
Thanks, Kara. Good morning, everyone. Hope you're having a very productive Wednesday so far. As Kara said, I hope you enjoyed a 3-day weekend, got some time to rest and relax a little bit with family and friends and kind of recharge the batteries. Excited to be here this morning. Always enjoy getting the questions, and I hope that you continue to find this discussion productive and worthwhile as we're attempting to navigate this together. It's hard for me to believe that it's already September. It will be 2021 before we know it. Being this far into 2020, I just can't believe, but I think all of us are glad that it's starting to be in the rear view. Looking forward to the questions today. As Kara has said before, if you do have some questions that did not make it into the inbox, please feel free to make sure that you utilize the chat box, because we certainly want to try to get you answers to questions if we do have the answers. If not, we certainly want to be able to do some research and try to provide you some responses. So happy to be here today, and with that, I'll kick it back to Kara. Thanks, everyone.
All right, thank you very much, Commissioner Turner. Okay, so some of the questions we got ahead of time. First question, could DIDD provide more information with the P23 test for staff testing? Our first 2 shipments were not delivered. We finally received them Friday, but we did not receive information about how to set up an account to begin staff testing or how to return completed tests to the lab. It also says they received nasopharyngeal tests, and they were concerned about their ability to administer the tests, and that few staff will participate with invasive testing. Dr. Davis, would you like to take some of this and show people where they can find some of those instructions as well? And I will toggle over to my internet screen while you're talking.
Yeah, the instructions for the P23 tests are in what's called the Standard Operating Procedure, or the SOP, which we do have up on the DIDD website. And Kara is going to show that to you just now. So that's where you would go to find the instructions about how to set up the account. I will say that it's not necessarily easy just because you go there. So if you are having difficulty with that, I'm going to go ahead and just ask you to reach out to me, and I will put you in touch with someone who can help you with that. My understanding is that that test is an anterior nares test as well, so that it should work for staff to be able to self-administer that. So if you need further clarification on that, then contact me about that as well. But and my email address is bruce.davis@tn.gov, bruce.davis@tn.gov, and I will be happy to put you in touch with someone who can help you with both of these matters. And Kara, I think, is about to pull this up to show to you. While I'm on the subject of testing, I will say that I have become a little bit concerned about the high positivity rate among persons supported. Last Thursday, I calculated the rate of positivity for our group over the foregoing 2 weeks. So that means the 2 weeks prior to last Thursday, and our positivity rate was at 39%. That is quite a bit higher than it is for the state. Even yesterday, where they only did a small number of tests, their positivity rate was 14 point something percent. So we are well above that. And generally, what a high positivity rate means is that you're under testing. And so one of the things I have done with the Department of Health is to arrange for us to be able to use these self-tests with persons supported. And that should make things quite a bit easier, I think, to get a test when it may be needed. And maybe what has happened is that because we're testing staff now, that we have pretty much just gone to symptom-based testing only for persons supported. We might be able to increase the testing rate if we could start testing people based on exposures or concern about exposures as well. I'm not necessarily saying that that is the reason that we have reached this point, but I am saying that we do need to figure out ways to increase the testing rate for persons supported. And so being able to use these self-tests for that purpose, I think should help us move that number up and reduce that positivity rate ultimately. So just wanted to make sure people were aware of that. And Carol, were you able to show that document up here? Or
I was able to show people, and just so you all know, it is on our COVID page under the testing and results guidance, which is now a very, very long section. And if you go down to the bottom, you'll find the Everlywell stuff, the MOU, and also the standard operating procedure for the P23 test as well.
And I'll just remind people, Kara, that they can email me if they're having problems, bruce.davis@tn.gov. I'm not necessarily saying I'm going to be the one that responds to you, but someone will respond to you under that circumstance. Thank you.
Kara, you're muted.
Kara, I think you're on mute.
Thank you, guys. Can someone address the issue of how DIDD and the QA department in particular is handling the expiration of CPI PCM certifications? Have those been extended like medication administration certifications? Since there is no way to so safely socially distance while practicing the physical components of these crisis management techniques, will QA be tagging agencies for expired certificates if they have not or cannot be extended? We do have Assistant Commissioner Pat Nichols on the phone, and she'll take this question.
Yes, good morning, everyone, and thank you, Kara. That is an excellent question. Each of the certifying bodies for the various behavioral certifications, such as CPI, et cetera, have established their own instructions to people regarding the certification. Some have been extended, and there have been other directives given. Our suggestion would be that each provider check the website for the various certifying bodies that you might be using. And as we look at the training and the certification issues in upcoming surveys, we'll be looking at what those certifying bodies have done in terms of their instructions. So again, just check in with the CPI certification body or those other bodies, and we will be providing that, or we will be following those same things as we look at the issues. Thank you, Kara.
Thanks so much, Kat. The next question we actually got questions all concerning OTPT and SLP when it comes to IDD integration. So I'm going to have Dr. Davis kind of answer them in a trio. One was, when can we attend, those providers attend a video meeting as shareholders concerning the therapy integration? When will the changes take place? And will the time we spend with clients be up for discussion? Dr. Davis is going to kind of explain where we are right now.
Yeah, so Kara, I just want to say we are very interested in people's feedback with respect to therapy services, behavior analysis services, all clinical services that we offer through the department. And this is a great opportunity that we have now to plan for a system that maybe overcomes some of the flaws that we see with the current system. So I don't want anybody to feel like the train has left the station. In fact, I would say that it's just pulling into the station at this point so that we can start addressing this matter. And we do have plans to have some forums for people to be able to provide some information about what they think would create that ideal system. Of course, we have the difficult task of taking everybody's feedback and trying to put that into a system that is going to work for everybody. And so that's the goal that we have at this point, that we're going to do this. I just want to assure therapists out there that your train has not left the station on this. We are definitely wanting to get your feedback on it. We are planning some forums to be able to do that. So Kara, we are actively planning for that. And anything that anybody wants to suggest is going to be on the table as far as that goes. I mean, so we're not going to limit people in what they can. We're not going to limit people in what they can suggest, but we will have to take everybody's suggestions under advisement, of course, as we move forward and try to develop a system. But we want everyone's input. We want others to help us design this system. So people should be reassured about that. Thank you, Kara.
Okay, it appears that the same person who was interrupted all of our office hours for the past couple of weeks was once again a repeat offender. So we are going to boot that person because we have warned multiple times that we really need everyone to keep their phones on mute and to not unmute when we do mute you. So please, once again, mute your phones, because this is a repeat offender for the past 3 office hours. And that's that. So we'll continue going on right now. Regarding the home, this is a question we actually got last week that we wanted to do a little bit of research on, but we wanted to bring it back up because we wanted to give you all an answer. Regarding the homebound billing requirements, will any exceptions be made for individuals who are placed under quarantine but do not meet the billing requirements? For example, if someone utilized community participation but was placed on quarantine during the last 2 days of the billing period, could an exception be made to allow us to bill for those days? And that was the question. And then there was also one about, and we answered the second one on that question. So Jordan, do you want to take this question?
Sure. Good morning, everybody. So as Kara indicated, before we responded, I wanted to make sure with both our DIDD and the TennCare IT team that applicable edits were in place or had been removed relative to billing for homebound services during the COVID-19 pandemic. So agencies are able to bill for less than, while the definition indicates 5 days per 7-day period, Sunday to Sunday, and no more than 10 days in a 14-day static billing period, there is no edit in place currently that limits the number of days under 10 that can be billed in that 14-day period, or under 5 that can be billed during a 7-day period. Again, that's Sunday to Sunday. So if you have someone who only needs homebound services, obviously that approval for homebound services extends to the entire population through the end of December 31st, the entire population with currently approved day services. And if you only need homebound services a day or 2 or 3, just no more than 5 in a 7-day period can be billed, and no more than 10 in a 14-day period can be billed, as the edit will prevent that kind of billing. But less than 5 or less than 10 is perfectly permissible.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. And then we did get a last-minute question in. Open line from September 4th indicated individuals' checking account balances are being checked for assets of over $2,000. When we discussed the stimulus check received by many persons supported with our Social Security contacts, we were told the person supported would have 1 year to spend the stimulus money and would not count against the person during that 1 year period from the time they received the money. Is that being taken into account in this situation? Deputy Commissioner Andy Kidd will provide some clarification.
Thanks, Karen. Good morning, everybody. That's correct. The stimulus dollars that were provided are being taken into account in that documentation. Part of our policies and procedures is to still, check for accounts over $2,000. But again, the stimulus dollars that were received by the recipients are actually being taken into account, and they do have 1 year to spend those. Thanks, Chair.
Thanks a lot, Andy. Okay, we're going to start going through questions in the chat box. The first is regarding the latest open line. DIDD's operations division is to resume in-person housing inspections. This seems a little premature. Did I read this correctly? We have our Deputy Director of Operations, Kimberly Black, on the phone, and I think she'll provide some clarification about this. But I can say that we had many, many, many requests to resume housing inspections in person.
Yes. Thank you, Kara. And you're correct. This is something that we looked at. This went up the chain in DIDD to make the best determination, and we looked at data and how many times a week housing inspectors go out. And just to avoid getting further backlog with the 30-month inspections, we decided to go ahead and resume this. And I will say that our housing inspectors have been going out the entire time for transitions. So what we're resuming is the 30-month cycle for inspections, just to make sure that those health and safety issues in the home, that we're still checking for those and we don't get too behind. And so we are taking some precautions, COVID precautions. Obviously, they'll be wearing PPE, and in an attempt to reduce cross-contamination between agencies, they're planning to only inspect one agency per day where possible. And, if it's a situation where the person supported will give permission, they'd like to inspect when people are away. And we do have some data that shows that people are utilizing CB we are not doing CB Day anymore. Community participation services, people are utilizing that. So there's a possibility that, the person may not be at home and the inspection can be scheduled during that time. However, we are asking that someone from the agency be available to let the home inspector in. And if you have issues with the inspection, the person supported doesn't want to have their home inspected, just let the inspector know when they call you to schedule, and we will not do the inspection. So just let us know if you have issues, and we'll work through it. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Kimberly. I appreciate that. The next question we have is can we start using the self-tests with Dr. Davis.
Yes, Phil, you can do that right away. There's no problem with starting that now. I had planned to have this in open line on Friday, but we have already received permission from Department of Health to pursue that. So if you have extra tests currently, you can use them for that purpose. And if you need to order a few extra when you order the next time, then you can do that as well. So that is available to you even now. Carol?
Excellent, thank you. And I'm pretty sure, Dr. Davis, you might want to hold on because we've got the next question. Hi, per the MOU, we are supposed to email weekly the number of tests completed, but also how many are positive and negative. Are we supposed to wait for the results before we email, or does that mean 2 separate emails need to be sent to covid19.testing@tn.gov? Dr. Davis, do you have an answer for this?
Yes, so my understanding is that you are to email your results into them. I don't think you have to do 2 separate emails within the week. Carol?
Great, thank you very much. And then we have a question. Please share the timeline for responding to the public comments regarding integration concepts, and what are the next steps in gathering input and discussion with stakeholders? Jordan, do you want to take this one?
Sure, thanks, Kara. So the first comment period relative to the initial rollout and WebExes that we provided actually ended on the 31st of August. Obviously, at the point at which the waiver amendment draft is finished and posted, there'll be the formal public comment period of 30 days. Between now and that time, certainly we're going to organize and schedule stakeholder feedback sessions. As the document or the template for discussion is finalized, we will distribute that, and I think tracking consistently with the way we've done thus far and in the past for that matter, we'll be setting up both collective meetings and individual stakeholder sessions designed for providers specifically, families, advocacy agencies. One of the things we learned here recently, and with a great degree of success, we set up separate stakeholder feedback sessions for advocacy agencies, people supported, and family members. And I think that allowed those different groups a different opportunity to ask questions, provide feedback, and be more directly involved. A lot of times, if it's a collective session and mostly made up of providers, it's difficult for family members and advocacy groups at times to get their questions and answers in. So that's the pathway that we'll use pushing forward. At the point at which we're ready to begin gathering that information, certainly we'll communicate it.
Thank you very much, Jordan. And just to echo what he said, we will definitely be doing, once we have a draft amendment and it's posted for public comment, in order to help people make that official public comment. The first period was similar to what we did with the Katie Beckett program, was the informal comment period to allow us to gather feedback that would inform that program design. And that did close. We got a lot of wonderful comments, a lot of things very similar, a lot of things that were very interesting and very supportive of what we were doing. Once again, we will follow the same path and do some provider and kind of network similar presentations, and then also do some family focus to help inform that public comment so people can make those public comments during that period of time. So we are definitely looking to that. We will also have FAQs posted as well, and we're looking to providing as much information as we can to help people make public comment and inform them about the amendments that are forthcoming. Next question. How should SLPs, OTs, PTs, and BCBAs provide comment? I would say they have provided it the same way that others did, is through that informal feedback period, and then through the public comment. And I think Dr. Davis was talking about some other opportunities similar to what we've been doing, what we plan to do with others. So Dr. Davis, do you want to add any more to that?
Yeah, I'll just say we're going to plan a session maybe for all of these groups or maybe for separate groups to meet with us and meet with your your discipline director at central office to provide that type of feedback. I think in the interim, as you're waiting that, there's no reason that you should withhold making those recommendations directly to your discipline director at central office, though. And so in the case of BCBAs, you can provide feedback to Michelle Bagby, who is at michelle.bagby@tn.gov, or Karen Wills, who is the therapies director. So she would cover SLPs, OTs, PTs. If you have feedback for her, then you would, feedback for us, you would provide it through her. And that is in the interim as we set up these forums that we're going to have over the next period. Kara?
Thanks so much, Dr. Davis. I did get a question privately about where was the Everlywell information on the DIDD site again. All of our testing information, whether it's the results, whether it's all of the MOUs or standard operating procedures, can be found on the COVID-19 page, which is the orange banner that you'll see on top of the tn.gov /DIDD page. And then if you go to the accordion that says testing and results guidance, you will find all of the information, all of the latest data, and also all of those attachments that we've been discussing, including how to report cases as well. We got a question, how long is it taking to get the results back from the COVID testing? Dr. Davis, do you have any insight in this?
Yes, a little bit. I can't speak with complete authority on this subject. I have anecdotal information that people, particularly with regard to the Everlywell tests, I'm not sure if I have more specific feedback with regard to P23, but the Everlywell tests are coming back within 2 days of being sent off. So if you conduct the testing one day, you send it in, then generally speaking, you're getting the results back within 48 hours of that. And, that was one I think a lot of people were worried about with regard to Everlywell because, were they going to be able to collect the results? I think some of the anecdotal information that I have is that they've been able to get the results from their staff fairly readily from that, so that they've been able to create a system that works for them. I don't know if that works for everybody, but it is certainly, I have heard some very positive stories about the Everlywell test. I haven't really heard anybody successfully making the circuit yet with the P23 test, and there was that question earlier about that. So I'm going to look a little bit further into what's happening with P23. But as far as Everlywell goes, I think we're getting pretty rapid results back from that. Carol?
Awesome. Thank you very much for that feedback. I don't see any more questions in the chat box, so I'll pause for about 10 seconds to see if any come in. And then if not, we'll call it a meeting. I do see some feedback that the P23 from a provider is generally 48 to 72 hours.
Thanks for that.
Okay, seeing no questions in the chat box, I think we're going to call this a meeting. I will turn it over to Commissioner Turner to see us out.
Thanks, Karen. Again, very robust discussion today, and I appreciate your participation. And thank you for submitting your questions and some of the concerns that you might even have. Again, I just want to continue to encourage you to please continue to share questions that you've got with us and feedback. We are still at the very beginning stages of what this integration in the system is going to look like. And I'm always going to drive that point home that it is nowhere near a finished product. We want to have feedback. We need that feedback. And as I've shared before, in many ways, our provider friends are seeing our blind spots for us and helping us make sure that we see things that we might be missing or that we're not aware of. And so I certainly want to continue to encourage you to provide the feedback to us, continue your open lines of communication, work with us on what it's going to look like, because I'm excited about what the final product's going to be, but we can't get there without your help. And so thank you again for your active participation in this and sending in ideas and things that are of concern and of importance to you. we certainly want to make sure that we continue to work together as we build this system. So with that, have a great rest of your Wednesday, and I'll turn it back to Kara.
Okay, and we will be here again next Wednesday, same time, same place. Once again, if you submit your questions ahead to the COVID inbox, that really helps us because some of them do require us to do a little bit of research because we want to give you the best answer possible. And we will continue to be here at the same time, same place, and look forward to having a discussion and conversation with you all next Wednesday. Thank you.